Is that all right for you? So, microphone just right in front of your face there. The reason why I reconfigured everything is because when we had Ben on last show, he was turning like this to talk to you.
Wasn't he?
So if we can like look at each other that way, you're not going to turn your head. It's good. I was just like,
really
every time he turned his head, I was kind of like, oh, but it's not his fault. He doesn't understand. I'm an audio.
It's like when you do one of those noise effects, and you're shouting to someone in the background, and you come back again, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's. I did notice one of the things because I haven't downloaded that episode yet, so I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
But he kept doing that a lot, didn't he?
Yeah,
Bless him. Obviously, it was full of cold, but it was like...
It's fine. Not everybody understands. I see the podcast thing has kind of ruined things for me because I hear things in audio that people wouldn't normally hear now. So like I've listened to something, I'll be like, even Joe Rogan, easily the biggest podcast on the planet, and his audio isn't. It's not. Sometimes it's not brilliant. It's really not brilliant. I mean, he did one with Kevin Smith, and I was like, oh, I'll listen to it, but Joe Rogan, this audio is terrible. Like, you know, it's because I'm really anal about these things. It's got to sound crisp and nice, you know. But anyway, so this is an introductory chat to DeeDee, who's going to hopefully join our team for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just bring that microphone down a little bit.
Am I that short?
No, that's it.
It's called being vertically challenged. It's totally normal.
We thought we'd just do a quick chat. We'll throw this on in the and if it's good, I mean, it's going to be good because it's a Biscuit studio thing, you know. But we'll throw it on this episode. So you're going to join the team for a bit, see if you like it, see if you enjoy it. Yeah. So what made you want to get into this then, the whole podcast thing? I know we just had this conversation.
Yeah. So basically, it's something this kind of like idea of being able to talk to people who are similar-minded to you, you know, people who are open, treat everyone the same unless proven otherwise kind of thing going on. And I think it's very much that even in the past, I've been very interested in stuff like this, and then life gets in the way a little bit. And then with my other half going away, I've decided I'm going to be a little bit selfish and do something that I enjoy doing.
Selfish is good. I mean, like, you've got to have, everybody's got their vice, right? Everybody's got something that distracts them from the world. That's what this podcasting is for me. If it wasn't the podcast, it would be something else for me.
Yes,
you know.
Definitely.
So it's good to have that distraction. And what do you reckon you can bring to the team? Because we've got Mouthful Mighty over here. We've got.
And what is it you always call me?
I don't like using the word mature. Because that's rude, but you got more life experience than us, and that's actually a compliment.
Life experience is better.
Yeah, that sounds a much better way of doing it. That's why I call myself vertically challenged, not short. It sounds way better.
Well, I'm follically challenged, so you know. So yeah, what do you reckon you could bring to the team?
You put me really on the spot.
I love doing that. I love
that. How do you do this? Right on the spot.
Well, you say you're from Shrewsbury originally.
Yeah, well, I'm originally. Well, I am. I'm Shropshire born, Shropshire bred. You know, strongly armed, thick in the head kind of saying.
Yeah.
But I was born at the hospital. Went to the local school. Went to boarding school. And I've really. Shrewsbury is somewhere that I think it's not just the town, but it's people in the town that make it special. And it's not just a lot of people from here aren't originally from here. And like you can walk around the town, and I know about a year ago there was a lot of places that were closed. There's a lot of empty shops, and there's a lot of more independent people that have come along and opened up, and people come and go. But there's always like, I notice that when people leave, a lot of them do come back. It's like I'm at that age now where my friends have finished uni, they're coming back, even though they're all like, oh, got to get out of this town. But I think that's just the thing when you're younger, isn't it? But people start to appreciate what Shrewsbury is.
Yeah.
And I think it's like what we were saying before, that the amount of people that don't actually know where we are.
Yeah.
You were saying that.
It's like we're the home of Darwin. How do people not know where? How do people not know where we are?
Well, you've joined at the right time because we're going to be talking a lot about Darwin over the next few weeks. Obviously, that's what today's show is going to be all about.
I think a lot of people don't even know where Shropshire is, though. Because when I've said before, for people that I don't, you know, obviously from where I've originally come from, people say, well, where are you living now? And I'll just go Shropshire.
It's such a big area.
Thinking, at least if they know roughly whereabouts that is in the country, and they'll go, where's that? I'll go, Birmingham, turn left.
Well, the SY postcode is the biggest postcode.
I know, but I don't think they know
it. Isn't it?
Well, people seem to know Telford, so they'll say, Telford. I'll go, you get to Telford and then go about another 10 miles and then it's Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
And it's there.
You can't miss it.
It's the county town.
Exactly.
Excuse me, it's the home of the Shrewsbury Biscuit, of course.
Or even if you say if you say to footballers Shrewsbury Town Football Club, then obviously people will know that if they're heavily into football.
When you're like Salopians.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
Yes.
we're called, aren't we? We're called salopians.
But
Yep.
I feel
I never
like
liked that word.
No?
No, I don't like the word salopian.
It's quite an old word, isn't it?
It
It's
is,
like
very old word.
Rutland is an old one in Leicestershire, and there's one of the counties up in Yorkshire's got a or had an old name, because Salop used to be the old county
Yeah,
name,
it is.
didn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
what I find about Shrewsbury is you can almost be an adopted Salopian. There's lots of people that, like you said, come from outside of Shrewsbury that just come here, fall in love with the place, and don't want to leave. They love it here. I'm the perfect example of that, and so is Julie.
Yeah.
You know, because it is such a great place. And so what we're going to do is we're going to throw you in the deep end over the next few weeks. We've got a crazy schedule.
Crazy schedule.
So we'll give you a few weeks and then see if you like it, and if you're like, this is too much, man. I totally understand, but I think you'd be good. I think you'd be really good because
Nothing scares me.
We
I
are-
hope not. Anyway, we'll test that.
we're very open, very just kind of welcoming people. So you'll be a good addition to the team. So tell us a bit about yourself then. What is it you do for a living?
Well, I work in transport.
Yeah.
So it's based in Shrewsbury, but we do all sorts of things like moving aeroplanes, tanks,
Oh, cool.
standard haulage, all those kind of things. I'm actually fourth generation.
Oh, okay.
So it's been going on for 78 years. Started by my great granddad, and I was originally when I came out of college, my brother was the family child that did all the gap years.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
ones.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
gap year child. You've got to say it like that, haven't you? And I went into work because I did nursing.
Yeah.
Worked at coffee shops, the standard, and then was welcomed into the family business. But I also do baking, which is a hobby that took a turn for good. So when I moved into the town, my neighbours all found out that I make cakes. And they're like, you make cakes? And I was like, yeah, I make cakes. And they're like, oh, can we have a cake? And then before I knew it, I was having to register it because I was making too much money on it.
Yeah.
And then it had to become an official thing. And then it's like, oh, people are like, oh, I'm getting married. Oh, Dee, do you want to do my cake? And I'm like, oh, here we go. Can't say no, can't say no. And
So what's your cake business called?
It wasn't named by me. Don't criticise me for it. It was named by my brother.
Yeah.
But it's called the Delicious Bakery, spelled with D-double-E.
That's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with
Oh,
that.
that's a nightmare because people go, that's delicious. And I'm like, oh, so cringy. Horrendous.
I can hear the radio advert now. Get cakes from DeeDee. They're delicious.
That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. And I can't do anything. It's like I'll do like a pop-up and people would be like, oh, delicious. Where's that name come from? I go like, well, my name's Dee.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, I get you now. And I have to explain that it wasn't me that picked it.
Yeah.
It's like you have all the other people that go, oh, Cakes by Sarah or stuff like this. And I'm like, nope, the Delicious Bakery. I've got a good logo though, so it's fine.
That's fine. That's all that matters. So you DEE.
D short for, it's DEE.
Yeah.
But it's short for DeeDee.
I was going to say, because obviously DeeDee is what
Like
I called you
Dexter's
this morning.
Lab. Yeah.
Ah, right.
Hey,
Okay.
DeeDee. I bet you get that all the time.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
pushing the buttons kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where's Dexter?
Yeah.
All that rubbish. Yeah.
I used to get it as a kid. Alexandra. Oh, go away. That's why I don't want to be called Alexander. It's Alex.
I call my other half by his full name.
Yeah?
Yeah, but when we're out in public, sometimes I have to call him by his nickname because he doesn't respond. So I always call him Andrew. I'm like, Andrew. And then sometimes I have to go, Masky. And he turns around and I'm like, never call him Masky.
The only person that's allowed to get away with it is my mum, but she doesn't call me Alexander. She calls me Xander.
But that's all right. That's not that bad.
It doesn't matter though, just because you have, like, the same if people call me Julie, it's like, oh, only my mum calls me that. But actually lots of people do, but I prefer Jules.
Do you ever get people that go, my Julie?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We had an episode that called me Julie.
Particularly because I come from Staines.
Oh, well, there you go.
That is actually where I lived.
Julie.
So everyone is obviously, and is there really an east side and a west side? Yes, there is. It's just a separation on one of the local parks. That's all it is.
Do they wear the colours as well? You're always at the yellow and the blue, isn't it? All that stuff.
All I've seen him filming in town when I used to live down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They used to do bits, and you'd see Ali G go past, and obviously all the other cast members. And
I imagine
for the
Ali
film.
G's like hailed as a god in Staines, like, you know.
I think he's hailed as a god anyway. I think
It
he's
is,
brilliant.
anyway. It is. It's the sort of thing. But everyone obviously, well, that's where everyone links it to. But
I think they need to bring Ali G
It's
back.
Staines upon
Yeah.
Thames now.
Yeah.
It's not just Staines upon Thames.
Oh, do you ever go back to Staines and do you ever go back there to see old friends and stuff like?
Well, no, all my family is still down there.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I find I get so far down the M40, normally to about junction 9, and then you start getting all a bit. everyone's driving like a lunatic and everyone's angry. And the closer you get to the M25, you're then like, now I've got to be prepared for hours sitting, going nowhere. Luckily, I know all the shortcuts, so I know how to get off of it. But you're just, and it's, I don't know, everyone's just so much in a... So I don't go down. I try and get family to come up here because then come up to the nice, relaxing environment, to the beautiful town where we have less problems and less crime. I'm not saying that it's, we don't have any, but it's just a bit more laid back up here.
It is a lot laid back. I think that's what it is. I think that's why I think the crime side of things, people turn a blind eye to it because it is so laid back that people don't expect it.
Exactly.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's like with Ben Butler, who we had on last week, just illustrating some of the problems that we got in Shrewsbury, that maybe a bit of money in a pot towards youth services and mental health it would help, because...
Go a long way,
like what you're saying about whole youth centres and everything like that, isn't it? It's one of those things.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't, I mean, I've got, if I have to go down there, when I was working back at the office, I regularly had to travel around the country, so I was able to go there, obviously, and if I was down there on business, then I'd stop over at friend or family, catch up with them, and then away again. But I don't, rightly or wrongly, I don't go down there very often because I just don't like it as much anymore. Sorry, Stain. Sorry, family and friends.
I didn't mean to be rude. I was just messaging our guest, just letting them know.
No, it's all right. We understand you don't care. It's fine. Just
sitting there
staring at a screen.
It's when we get guests on and they're interviewing, and obviously I know what you're doing when you're looking at this, and he's doing all this over knobs and things and picking up the phone. And
don't tell people I'm playing with my knobs.
Knobs on the H6 machine recorder. But obviously some people won't know what Alex is doing. So you might see guests and they'll be like...
It's like looking him up and down going, who is this
guy? On talking?
It looks really
but they do. That's when they'll suddenly spin at me and start talking to me.
Especially when I'm doing like recording remotely over the computer or something, over the laptop. And I've got like my tablet on one side, my book on the other side, and I'm Googling, researching things, and I'm writing things down. Or even messaging like on my phone, because I was just having a conversation earlier about my phone, because my phone is like my life. I run everything off my phone. Yeah. So if I'm ever doing a podcast and I'm looking at my phone, I'm looking for like reactions on our group, or I'm researching like IMDb on some actor or something. Yeah, I'm genuinely like, but it does look rude.
You know what the next move is? We'll get one of those webcams in here so people can watch you live.
We want to do that.
We want to connect to the website. Imagine that.
Yeah, that'd be great. We want to venture into doing even just once a month, like a live episode.
Yeah.
Get a big camera up here and just be like, hey, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit. Now I've got to look good as well as sound good. Hey, Yeah.
You don't have to. We could just be normal.
It's always stopped taking him seriously now. It has.
Normal people doing a normal podcast.
Me be normal.
Normal till you get the camera.
Need to dress up and do stuff.
That's a paradox, though, isn't it? Because I mean, like, as soon as you start trying to be normal, then you move out of your comfort zone and stuff.
I think normal's boring.
I think normal's boring.
But I do think, you have to be yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, but I think being ourselves, we're not normal anyway.
No,
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We're like strange. So welcome to the Biscuit. We like strange people. There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome then.
And so we got a busy week this week. We got Jenny Swid moved on to next week now. She wasn't very well, bless her, today, so she couldn't
get well soon, Jen.
Get well soon, Jen. We have the guys from Peaks Travel Elite coming in tomorrow to talk to us. I'm saying tomorrow. These will be all released during the month, but I mean, and then at the weekend we got Charlie Adlard coming on the show. Which is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be weird for me because I've got this weird 16-year-old girl
He's got
crush.
a proper fan crush on him. It's like a groupie.
I don't know what it is, man, but every time I'm around him, I'm kind of like...
Which is a good job Shane and I are here then, really,
This
isn't it,
is weird, though, right? Charlie's been around my house. We've recorded an episode of Thorskin together, and it was fine. Like, we had such a blast, and I don't understand where this has come from. So this is actually going to be therapy for me on the weekend.
Is this Charlie who did the comics?
Yeah, The Walking Dead.
Yeah. So a couple of months ago, I was with my mum walking the dogs at Attingham. And I was going on ahead, and I turned around. I was like, my mum was talking to this bloke, and I was like, oh, come on, mum. And I was walking on ahead with the dogs. Stood out ages. She finally caught up with me. She's like, "Oh, just talking to Charlie." And I was like, "All right." She's like, "Oh yeah, we went to college together, went to university together." It's okay. Half an hour later, she tried to tell me that he was the guy from The Walking Dead, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" I was like, "If people knew him, he would get he wouldn't be able to walk around Hattingham Park, would he?"
No.
It's a good thing about being a comic illustrator, though, isn't it? Rather than
he said to me that he walked around Walker Stalker, which is a huge convention, all based around The Walking Dead, and
that's right.
And he can walk around that, and most people won't recognise him.
No.
Yeah.
Even though he was like him and Kirkman were like the idea, made the idea, yeah, he's just a really grounded, down-to-earth guy. I'll bump into him in Sainsbury's or something. I'd be like, "What's up?" And he'd be
you
like,
wouldn't expect it, would you?
Yeah. It's quite
And
cool.
he looks so normal.
you
think how messed up The Walking Dead is? You watch some stuff and you're like, who the hell is thinking of all this?
I suppose that's probably more about what Kirkman and that are like, isn't it?
We've got we're so lucky to have so much talent around us because as far as comic books are concerned, we've got John Wagner. I did an interview with John Wagner, the creator of he said The Walking Dead then, sorry John, of Judge Dredd. I had a really funny story with John Wagner. We were at the Comic Salopia opener, and I wanted to go over. He was on the opposite table to me. I wanted to go over to John Wagner and reintroduce myself. We met very briefly at one point. It was a big interview we did for Comic Salopia. And just as I went over to reach out to shake his hand, the band started playing really loud. And I was like, all you could see is my mouth moving. But I had to really shout at him. I was like, "How's it going, John? I'm Alex from the Biscuit. Do you remember me?" And he went, "No." I was like, "We'll have to get you on the podcast." And he was like, "I kind of hear you." And I was just like, "Have a great day." And I just walked off. And since then, we've kind of, he's
well, you got to interview him, so that's the main thing,
he's
isn't
a good guy. And he'll be back on again because he likes what we're doing.
I think there's a lot of well-known people that live in Shrewsbury that people aren't aware of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like there used to be Nick Knowles that had his coffee shop on the Cop, wasn't there?
That's right, yeah.
For a while, but he's
Didn't
gone
last,
now.
unfortunately, but
No, it didn't. But there's people everywhere. It's like
well, you've got Greg Davis, haven't you? I know he's Wem, but
he's Wem, and what is it? Every Sunday he takes his mum TK Maxx, doesn't he? But that's the thing that people always say. It's like every Sunday you'll see him and his mum and TK Maxx.
I've written to his agent. I was like, this is when we first started.
You need to not go to his agent. You need to go to TK Maxx on a Sunday.
When he does his shows at 37, because it's whenever he does a tour, he does his first one at 37.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant because it's his hometown. He's got his mum there and his friends.
Yeah.
Oh, and he just gets ripped. What's it called when they scream from the audience?
Heckling.
Thank you. Yeah, the heckling is just amazing.
Yeah.
I want to get him on the show because that'd be awesome. Like,
that'd be amazing.
He's a really generous guy. Like if you watch him doing some of the interviews, he lets the person next to him have a lot of time.
Can't promise he'll fit to the door though.
Yeah, we'll have to bend down.
Well, we had the town crier in there a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that's
true,
That's fine. It's been tested out. That's right.
Actually, that's a good point. I didn't notice when he walked in. He must have ducked, mustn't he?
Oh, must have done.
Yeah,
he will have because that door is not 7 foot tall.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll one day we'll get Greg Davis on the show. Can't talk. All right, okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wait for we got Paul Kirkbright coming in from the university to talk to us about the Darwin Festival. If you don't know about Darwin Festival, put your hands up if you know what the Darwin Festival is. Yeah. So we've got a general idea what it is. I know what it is because I worked with it last year. We're going to find out. I want to try and get as many of our listeners to events this year because it's a fantastic event with so much potential. A potential I don't think it's reached yet. I feel like there's so much more to come and there's so much more it can offer that I want to try and push people. There's we've got like on the board there we've got like 7 interviews lined up just to talk about people's events at the Darwin Festival, and there's one called Café Scientifique, and it's basically you go, you drink coffee, and you have a guy doing a world-class lecture on a certain sort of science, and you're sitting there drinking coffee and you're learning. It's amazing. We drank beer last year, but I don't know if we can do that this year. We'll find out when we interview him. So anyway, let's give this a bit of a break, and we'll come back to this when he's here.
In a very short while.
In a very short while.
In a very, very short while.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, DeeDee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eat chocolate.
Yeah, we got sweets
yourself.
here, chocolates. Help yourself. We had Ben Butler on here last week, sucking on a humbug. He's on.
Oh yeah.
That was very entertaining.
That's can't remember what the radio prizes are, but that's definitely a gold award, isn't it?
Right, before we get into this, I want to say thank you to our sponsors who are sponsoring us for this month, and that's Gin Different. If you are a big fan of gin, or even if you're not, you just want to try it, you're on the fence, make sure you pop up to their bar in the market hall. But they also do pop-up bars around festivals, things like that. But also those bottles of wine that are obscure, you can't really get any wine. Gin.
Clues in the title.
If you can't get a certain bottle of gin, they can get it in for you. So there's lots of uses there for gin different. So make sure you give them a check them out. Follow them on Facebook, etc. A couple of shout outs before we get into this as well. I want to say thank you to Scott Taylor, a friend of mine I grew up with. He sent me, he posted this amazing picture of Darwin today. I'm going to show Julie. And it fits in exactly with what we're doing.
That's really cool.
It's really amazing. We're going to use his picture as...
it's a very good idea, isn't it, how you set that up?
Yeah. Well, it's just Darwin at the Natural History Museum and just people moving around him.
That is
as this
brilliant.
idea
really
of time just moving past Darwin, because that's exactly what it looks like to me. So thank you, Scott, for that. And also, we want to thank Ben Butler for last week's show. It was really good. We've had some real positive feedback from that. People really enjoying his story. It was really nice chat, to be fair, because I wanted to shock and awe. I wanted people to hear his story and then talk about what comes after that. What comes after living a life like that and wanting to change. So that was great. There is an email as well I've got to read out from Claire from Shropshire Festivals. Where is it? Okay, here we go. It's all also about Shropshire Town and the community. Real great folks at the football club there. And on the 21st of January, they're doing their Shrewsbury Town and the community. They're launching a Challenge Yourself 2020, where people are invited to come and take part in sort of certain events to challenge yourself for charity, raise some money. I think everybody's kind of welcome there. I'm going to pop there. I think maybe try and get a crumb. And it says here, Jamie Edwards, the CEO of Shrewsbury Town and the community, comments on the plans they have for 2020. He says, we have been very busy planning some brilliant challenges for this year, and we will have something for everyone. All fitness levels and ages. This is a chance to set yourself a new goal for the new year. We have challenges that involve walking up hills, long distance cycling, running, and even challenges that require determination and willpower over physical prowess. Each one offers a meaningful and memorable experience. So really good. Make sure you go to Shrewsbury Town and the community. Check out what they're doing. Great things for the town. We're going to be linking up with them very soon to talk about it a bit more. Right, now into today's show. I'm your host, obviously, Alex Whiteley. Joined with me today is Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
And DeeDee. Hi, DeeDee.
Hiya.
How's it going? And our guest today is Paul Kirkbright from University Centre Shrewsbury. How's it going, sir?
Not too bad. Enjoying the free tea. So.
Thank you for joining us. You said you just got back in from London, right? That sounds crazy.
The delights of now Avanti Rail rather than Virgin Rail. Which is exactly the same thing, just called a different thing with slightly poorer Wi-Fi.
Like a sardine.
Yeah. No, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Coming back through Birmingham New Street, which is always a joy to spend a little bit of a time having a
feel like
cup
you
of tea
need
there.
to get through Birmingham New Street. You kind of need a joust, don't you, just to get...
Yeah.
Beautiful above and the 7th level of hell below.
Yeah, exactly.
Julie asked me before you came on, she said, what's Paul's role? And I said, he's the Deputy Provost. And she was like, what's a Provost? And I was like, I don't know, maybe we should ask him, what is a Provost?
Yeah, well, if anybody knows that, if you could send an email to p.kirkbright. Basically, Provost is an old, and the derivative Deputy Provost is an old academic title, kind of harking back to Scottish universities, where you would have a proctor. And the proctor was responsible for kind of student discipline. So if anybody got out of line or wasn't pulling the weight in terms of academia, then they would be up before the proctor for disciplinary matters. And then there was the provost, and the provost was responsible for all the buildings. So the infrastructure, the bedrooms, the parking and all that kind of stuff. And I think we've inherited it down here. So we have our provost for University Centre Shrewsbury, Professor Anna Sutton, and she kind of leads on all the kind of the overall vision of what we're trying to achieve with the development of the university, working with the academic community. And then I'm kind of responsible for everything else, which can range from student welfare and support to the buildings that we work out of, the partnerships that we have, the things that we get involved in, all the way down to kind of car parking, tea and coffee. So if you ever come into the university and you don't like your parking space, which is highly likely, then that's probably my fault. So yeah, it's that side. It's everything which isn't to do with academic and teaching.
It's the...
Keeping it running, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
So you're the Paul saw it.
Yeah.
Paul saw it.
Well,
Paul saw it.
What Paul usually does is then pass it on to a team of really, really good people who then kind of make the problems go away, and it looks like I have some form of magic wand when actually it's just a load of hard work on other people's behalf.
Oh, tell Paul I said thank you. It's
Yeah.
me you're going to thank.
Indeed.
First of all, I want to say thank you for your support since we started this show. 18 months ago, you guys have been absolutely amazing for us. I mean, things like Comic Salopia. We did Comic Salopia. You're like, you can have a room for 2 days. No problem. And we used that room as a studio. That was really cool. And things that we've linked up with in the past, especially the Darwin Festival, because the Darwin Festival it's an event with so much potential. There's so much there. And I was saying before, we did a little bit of a recording before, I don't think the Darwin Festival has even hit its potential yet. There's so much more they can do with it. We just got to keep it going. Should we explain first of all what the Darwin Festival is? Because if you haven't listened to the show before, if you haven't walked around, if you walk around Shrewsbury with your eyes closed and seen the banners everywhere, what is the Darwin Festival and why do we do it?
Well, I think there's kind of been a Darwin Festival and events celebrating Darwin's birth happening in Shrewsbury for many, many years, and indeed going back to the bicentennial. John King did a huge amount of work on putting together a really interesting programme of events around the bicentennial. When the university started up, obviously we were vested self-interest. We were looking at how do we promote the university and how do we promote the place. And given one of our key areas of academic interest in terms of research and teaching is both bioscience and the environment, then the connection with Darwin's work and his legacy and the way that work then resounds around not just the globe but through time as well. It made sense for the university to be involved in kind of pushing the kind of Darwin brand, because in common with a number of other things across Shropshire, Shrewsbury and the wider marches, we're not very good at shouting about what we're good at. And I think that, Alex, can come back to why we were very keen to support the Biscuit podcast, because it is about, shouting out about the interesting stuff that happens in the place that we all live. So we kind of came together with a number of organisations, the County Council, the Town Council, the BID, Shropshire Wildlife Trust, the Unitarian Church, Shrewsbury School, and just kind of said, well, look, we're all doing bits. We're all doing stuff around Darwin and that celebratory period in and around his birthday, whether it's the tours that happen in the town, or whether it's some of the celebratory events that the Unitarian Church put on, the museum, the university was doing lectures. We obviously have the Darwin Memorial Lecture as well, which is organised by the Friends of the Museum, with David Waterhouse and his team there. And it was, well, let's all bring it all together. So can we pool the resources, working with the BID in terms of utilising the brand of Original Shrewsbury, utilising their resources in terms of promoting the place, and kind of bring a bit more of a coherence to not just the organisations that were involved, so basic things like not doing stuff on the same day, but also promoting it to not just a local audience as a coherent festival offering, but also using it as a way of getting people to visit Shrewsbury. And it's grown year on year. All of the organisations involved, and there's I think about 15 or 16 now, they all do their own thing. They all bear their own costs. There's no big magic pot of money that anybody gives us to do this stuff. And I think we're at the point now where I think we've got 20 events on this year, a number of fringe events are happening as well, and there's things rippling on through the rest of February as well, not just around the 2 weeks of the festival. So it's at that point now where I think there's something we can take a step change if we kind of maintain the partnership, keep people working collaborative together, use the university and the resources the university has as a base, working with the BID, working with other partners, and see whether maybe we could do something bigger, better, bolder, as a way of shouting a bit louder about the man, his work and the place that created him.
It's keeping it on topic as well, isn't it? Because you don't want it a big rock and roll festival. There's Darwin. Let's inspire some people to think and use their brains, starting from young people, which the Hive and the Wildlife Trust have been doing, Darwin's Garden, the Buzzy Beats. What's it called? The Fuzzy Beats?
Fuzzy Beats.
Fuzzy Beats.
Fuzzy Beats, yes. You have to be very careful how you pronounce that.
It's starting from young right through to, like, last year was just, I think it was very ambitious last year. We had... what's her name? The lady that was Darwin's great granddaughter.
Oh yeah.
Yes, she was here giving.
She was here,
and
she was talking about the FARC in Colombia, and I recorded that live on Facebook. I also recorded it and released it, and there were people listening to that show from all around the world in Shrewsbury, the Unitarian Church, where Darwin went as a child. It's just amazing that we can reach people in that way.
Well, I think you have to remember that Darwin, if he was dropped back into the middle of Shrewsbury now, there's a lot that he would recognise as being from his time. 650 listed buildings within the town centre. The river hasn't moved. Yep. His house hasn't moved. But the interesting thing from the university's perspective is obviously the fields and the gardens and the grounds that he would have walked through on his route to the original site of Shrewsbury School are right through the university's premises. He's literally, he would have, if he was here now, he would have entered through our back door and gone out of our front door to get to school. This is the place, this is the environment, this is whether it's the air or the water or the soil or the food or the tea, but this is the environment that created the mind, that created the work, that changed basically humankind's perception of its place in the universe.
It's really important. It's really important. What do you think Darwin would think about today? If you got dropped here, would you be like, we're still here? What's going on? Why is this still here? What's going on?
Still roadworks in the town centre. I think he would find a lot that is recognisable, because I think obviously when you have a physical barrier such as the river to kind of development and growth, we don't see many skyscrapers in the middle of Shrewsbury as you would do in a Birmingham or a Manchester or a Liverpool or a London. I think there would be a lot that would be recognisable. I think probably the thing that he would recognise more than anything is the people. It's the warmth and friendliness and openness of the people. And I'm sure that played a huge part in the development of him as a scientist and as a man. Yeah,
absolutely. In terms of like you were saying about, it's about getting it out to visitors as well. So it's not just about encouraging people in the town to know more about it and come to events, but also visitors. So how are you guys promoting it sort of outside the town?
Well, that's where our friends at the BID, the Business Improvement District, come in, and the whole original Shrewsbury brand. Yep. A lot of this media stuff now, as you guys will know, because you're working in new media forms, it is social media. And I know that upsets certain members of the public, which is, well, why don't you print something out? Or, why can't we just ring up for something, or print a ticket? A lot of it now is about social media and getting those messages out, targeting the networks. I think we did a calculation when we were looking at different bands of groups on Shropshire social media. If you bring them all together, there's like 80,000 people actively involved in either Facebook or Instagram, or Facebook is where the parents are, Instagram is where the kids are. They're actively involved in those social media platforms, and that's how you have to make people aware of what it is you're doing. Because Shrewsbury is a small enough place to ensure that people who perhaps don't have access to social media or online content, we can make them aware of that through physical printing and banners and all that kind of stuff that the BID is really, really good at. But in terms of getting that message to a much wider audience, then it has to be a virtual, and that's why things like the Biscuit are so key in terms of making people aware, whether in America or Asia or Australia,
Colombia.
Or Colombia even. That's the thing. And using the global interest that there is in the man and his work to actually get people to come here. We're kind of the UK's best kept secret. We don't like to shout too loud about how lovely a place this is to live, work and study. And by doing things like the Darwin Festival and showing the richness of things that are happening in the town. This wasn't the university waving a magic wand and bing, the festival's there. This was stuff that was already going on. All the university and key partners like the BID and the council have done is actually bring people together. And I think that's what the university should be doing. It needs to be close to the community, it needs to be involved in the community, and it needs to be able to not just do things itself, but also facilitate other things happening. And I think the Darwin Festival kind of falls squarely into that civic responsibility.
And have you got students? Are there students doing anything specific?
Well, we get students attending. The difficulty for some of our university students is February kind of marks the run into assessments,
of course it does,
exams. Most of our second year students are starting thinking about the work-based learning projects that they go on and they undertake. So while students attend, and we have an events and festivals management course that we encourage our students on that programme to get involved in running things and having live experience of running a festival. It's kind of a difficult time of year. In an ideal world, we'd kind of just shift his birthday to somewhere around July and August because the weather's better, and
like the Queen does.
Yeah, indeed. It's just would the Darwin family actually mind if we just shifted his birthday and chiselled it off all the sculptures and statues around the world? Because it would be to do a Darwin Festival in the summer is a very different thing to doing a Darwin Festival in the middle of February. But that's when the great man arrived, and we work with what we've got.
So between around the table, how many times do you have to tell people, well, this is where Darwin's from.
Oh, yeah, no, a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of friends in America. I'm like, from the birthplace of Darwin. I'm not from. I live in the birthplace of Darwin, baby. You know, and it's kind of like, oh, really? Okay. What's next? Anyway, look, this year's festival, it seems a lot smaller, a lot more compact, a lot easier to sort of manage, and I think that's good. I think it kind of directs people in the directions where you need them to go. But it starts off brilliantly, as always, with the Young Thinkers Awards on the 7th.
Yes.
Which I love, by the way. The Young Thinkers Awards is run by Morris.
It is.
And they run competitions throughout a couple of months where they get like an assessment or a project to do.
Yeah, well, the last 2 years were basically essay writing competitions. It was, the first one was kind of your one big idea to change the world, and we had some fantastic entries to that competition, and that was an essay competition. Last year was an essay competition as well, which was around a journey in time and space with Darwin. So that was the hook. So, you know, all the young people wrote in with their ideas of taking Darwin basically on a day out, and there was some really interesting ideas.
There was some
I can
amazing.
imagine.
There was one girl. She was like, I'd like to take Darwin to show him the great rubbish patch.
Yes.
To show him what we've done.
Yeah.
I'd love to show him that.
Yeah, and on a slightly lighter note, somebody wanted to take him to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. So you know, it was kind of across the kind of chasm, the spectrum of ideas. This year we've changed it slightly, which is actually a design competition this year that Morris and Co and the university are running, and it's about designing a new flag for Shrewsbury to kind of herald Darwin's connection with Shrewsbury and the sense of place. So we've had, the colleagues at Morris will kill me that I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's about 400 entries. We shortlisted on Tuesday afternoon. So we've now got a long list that is going to the judging panel to choose.
That must be really
the
hard.
winner. It's incrily hard.
Here's Billy, 7 years old. He worked weeks on this.
Yeah, don't make me feel any worse than I already am.
Sorry, Billy.
For smashing and destroying the dreams of 350 young people around the county. So we've got a long list of 40 really interesting, different designs. Some focusing on the man, some focusing on the work, some focusing on the place. The festival will kick off with the awards night of that at Shrewsbury Museum.
We're going to try and get to that. I did that. No. I mean, like, I wrote to Morris and said I'd love to get to that event. I'd love to get a microphone up on that pedestal and get people talking into the microphone and release it, because some of the essays that we were reading out and some of the way that these kids were projecting themselves was so inspirational. These kids are young, man, and they're already brighter than me. 7-year-olds.
If anybody jumps in on that and say no, they're not, then no,
we're going anything.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that tumbleweed?
Can I just ask what time the awards night starts?
Oh, I think it's kicking off at about 6:30. Okay. The details are on the website.
I'm looking at the events list at the moment, but
because that's just being finalised. The final brochure for the festival, I think, will be published next week.
Yeah, this one I've got here hasn't been published yet. And then we break off into there's the Last Cuckoo, which I think is a play being done at the Unitarian Church. They always do a couple of plays there, which are really, really good. Mysteries are amazing. Des and Ali from Mysteries are great people. We're going to try and get them on the show. I think they're due in on the 21st. I think we're going to speak to them. I would get them on the show.
So we're getting them pre-Darwin Festival.
Oh yeah, we're going to do a preview to all of this. We're going to get people in to talk about their events. What's kind of your favourite out of the list here? I mean, I could go for the list, but it might bore people. It's a big list. It might bore people.
Which is my favourite child? No, I mean, to me, it's the Young Thinkers. I think the Young Thinkers, not just the fact that it's the launch event and the fact that actually, but it's the amount of effort and work that not just the young people who enter the competitions, but their parents, their teachers, their schools have kind of put into helping them submit entries. The amount of effort and the imagination and the variety of ideas. And, you know, I think as I have the pleasure usually of kind of emceeing the finals night. And I always kind of say, you know, if the future of Shropshire and Shrewsbury is in safe hands, if we can judge anything by the quality of the work that these young people are producing, and the age range this year is from 7 to 12. So as you can imagine, you know, that's a significant kind of gap. And I'm rubbish at art, but you know, eventually one of these young people will have their winning design turned into a flag. That flag will fly over Morris. It will fly over at the university at Frankwell for a year, and will be made into a wide variety of advertising and promotional materials.
We should get one for the studio,
including tea towels, etc.
That's cool, because that was going to be my question: is where will the flag be flown?
So it will be produced as a flag and as a T-shirt and various other kind of memorabilia and merchandise. And a kind of hard version of it will be installed into the university for kind of time in perpetuity, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great. We'll get one for the
royalties
studio.
For the winner then forever.
I mean, the other event I would probably, because it is, like you say, it is such a wide-ranging festival from arts and science. But this year we're also running a conference, I think, on the 13th of February, which is around, I don't think it's actually in the draft programme at the moment, around the evolution of work. And we're bringing some interesting people together. The exact kind of lineup of speakers we haven't confirmed, so I'm not going to do any spoilers. But we're bringing some really interesting speakers together to talk about how work will evolve with the impact of technology, the impact of things like machine learning, AI, and what that means for careers, what that means for the ambitions of people entering the workplace, what that means for the workforce of tomorrow. And the whole concept of how we do business.
Yeah,
I'd like to join that, because the whole automation thing kind of is a big speaking point, isn't it? You know, like how people are losing their jobs to machines.
Well,
the machines are rising, man.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say, but I think there was some research done recently which identified the top 10 zombie jobs. Now, basically what a zombie job is, my understanding of the definition, is that essentially it's a dead job. It's not quite dead yet, but it's on the way out. Now, unfortunately, he says to a room full of broadcast journalists, but unfortunately, journalism is one of those zombie jobs that it is predicted that AI and machine learning and how people consume information. Now, I don't necessarily believe that 100%, but one of the other ones is radiography. And you probably saw recent coverage of research that has been published that, there's an AI application that can look at things like tests for cancer and actually do them quicker and to greater accuracy than a trained radiographer. Now, before all the radiographers in Shropshire are after me with burning torches and pitchforks, it's that kind of discussion that we'll be having at the conference, which is, what do we do to move people from these zombie jobs into other areas that are non-zombie jobs.
Yeah, so it's about utilising the skill sets, isn't it, in a different way.
Yeah.
That they still feel that they're probably getting like a career out of something, but it's just a different shift. So this is on the 13th?
13th of February at the university. I think it's an evening event. I think it might be afternoon.
It's on Eventbrite as well, isn't it?
It is.
And what's that one called?
The Evolution of Work, or it's something around there. It's kind of a late entry into the festival programme, but it was one of those things where a number of ideas just kind of came together, and we said, we were thinking about doing 2 or 3 different things, and it was like, actually, let's do one banner event and actually bring a few people together, and if we can confirm the speaker lineup that we hope to achieve, and we're working on that with a local businessman and entrepreneur, John O'Brien, who runs the 100 agency down in London, and is a proud Salopian, lives in Shrewsbury, and he's working and collaborating with the university on bringing that programme together. So that's really exciting in terms of thought leadership of what the place needs to be thinking about in terms of the future of
you have to let them know that we have a whole Saturday free if
he
wants to come talk about us on the show. That'd be awesome. Automation is just such a I mean, creating all these things that people can't afford because they haven't got jobs to. Like I said, there's so much going on, and one of the biggest talking points is the free entry to the Shrewsbury Museum and Art Gallery. In between, it's Friday the 14th to the Sunday the 16th. You're going to be able to go into the library, museum for free, which is quite cool because a lot of people walk past that museum and don't think to just pop in. It's quite a cool place to go.
Go there on my birthday then, can't I?
It's a huge thank you and a huge shout out to colleagues at Shropshire Council and at the museum, particularly Faye Easton, who's organised that. And that's where actually the display of the finalists for the Young Thinkers will be there, so people can do both. They can go in, they can see the finalists and the designs, and hopefully see the winner in terms of which one has won on the evening of the 7th.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
But then have free entry to the museum as well, and that's not just for visitors to Shrewsbury, that's also for locals as well, who, like you say, Alex, might walk past the museum 9 or 10 times a week and actually never think of popping in. Well, this is the opportunity to pop in.
To do it, that's a really good shout.
I mean, Charlie Adler's just moved his exhibition from there, which I think is one of the coolest things I've ever seen a museum do.
I went to go and have a look at that. That was very good.
Was it good? You enjoyed it?
It was really good, yeah.
It's awesome, How often do you see a museum going, let's do zombies?
Big fan of Charlie's work, but I think my 8-year-old daughter would probably say the Lego. beats Charlie's exhibition slightly. She's probably more in favour of Lego and less of zombies. But
my boys just found Lego, and oh my God, it's everywhere on the house. Everywhere. I mean, I was sat doing a podcast at a table, and I was just sitting there, and I slammed my foot down on a piece of Lego whilst the recorder. I was
oh, that's the worst, that is.
It is the worst. It is the worst. What else is going on? So we've got the Young Darwin and Shrewsbury exhibition launch party. I think that's with the Civic Society, isn't it?
Civic Society at the Bear Steps,
yeah. Bear Steps are doing a couple of things, actually. What's the film they're showing, Creation?
Creation, that's it's a film starring Paul Bettany, the actor who was in Wimbledon and The Avengers, playing the Vision.
He was also in...
No, you're going to have to give us more than that.
Dan, famous books, Dan...
Dan Brown, the Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code. In my head, he was he was the monk.
He was the monk.
He
was the hitman monk. Yes,
that's right.
It stars him as Darwin, and it really explores his relationship with his wife and the struggles he had in coming to terms with writing on the origin of species. It's a great film, and again demonstrates the diversity of things that are happening. You know, it's not just about either academic lectures or arts-based activities. It's about film. You know, it's about drama. It's about walking tours of the town. You know, it's there is literally, we would hope, something for everyone. If you pick up the brochure or you go online and look at the programme, if there isn't something on there that you think actually I quite fancy tagging along for that, then really you need to get out more. And
whereabouts is that the film being shown? That's at the museum as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and a big shout out to some of the fringe events as well. So you got the annual Darwin Park Run, so you can get out there, get in your jogging gear if that's your thing. Not quite my thing, but there's the guided tours of Darwin's childhood in Shrewsbury. Who's doing that? Is that John?
I think it's John.
John King. I went last year. It was really, really good. Yeah. I would, because not enough people turned up last time. There was about 8 people, I think. If you can get on that tour, I absolutely would implore you to go on there, because that's what I want. My listeners everybody that listens to the show, pick an event. Go to originalshrewsbury.co.uk. Look at the Darwin Festival and pick an event and go to it. I really do encourage you guys to do it, especially some of the tours. Some of the tours are amazing.
I mean, John has... he's probably forgotten more about Darwin than normal people know. He's a real expert. And the other thing I would flag up as well is, in particularly special this year, is the involvement of Shrewsbury School.
Yes.
And the fact that they're opening up their archive, their Darwin archive, which contains 2 first editions of On the Origin, and an opportunity to visit with the curator, Robin, and see some of Darwin's papers, some of his correspondence, the 2 first editions, and some of the other work that the Shrewsbury School have in their archive, which, for very, very good reasons, for 364 days of the year stays behind lock and key.
So imagine that is worth millions.
That is almost if something can be almost unique, then it's an almost unique opportunity for a very small number of people, because getting people in and out of the archive is challenging. But we're delighted that Shrewsbury School are involved in that, and obviously
the fact that they're opening up their doors for people is great.
Well, they take great pride in their alumni. See Darwin, and the fact that they're willing to open the doors and let people in to look at this stuff. If you are a Darwin, Darwin fanatic, then it doesn't get much better than going in and seeing the work and seeing the papers that the great man
absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know how these things work, but does the Shrewsbury School benefit from being the school of Darwin? Is it something that people might hear and go, "Oh, that's the school of Darwin"? Does it help them?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, Darwin, they have a fantastic statue of the slightly younger Darwin in the middle of the grounds of Shrewsbury School, and they are very proud of him. Yeah. And yes, as with the university, there is an academic pedigree for the man and his work, and obviously, he was a pupil at the original site of the school. Yeah. And they understandably are very proud of that and use that association as you would do. Yeah.
Also shouting out is the Darwin themed Buzzy Beats, which at the Hive. That's on Saturday, the 15th of February, between 2 and 3:30. Good fun for the kids. They can go there and play some music. And then there's the Discover Darwin Kids Outdoor Fun, which is at done by the Shrewsbury Wildlife Trust on the 19th of February. So, like, looking at all this, there's so much to do, whether you've got your kids, whether you're an intellectual and you want to sit through a lecture, or whether you want to go and watch a movie. You know, there's so much going on.
I've just clicked as well, actually. It's a really obvious question, but I'm guessing that particular week that falls into when that's half term, yeah?
The festival is actually the 2 weeks before, the 10 days before half term.
Right.
And then the Wildlife Trust are running their activities during half term.
Cool.
So
I've just suddenly in my head, I'm thinking, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that we're kind of terming the fringe is actually happening outside of those core dates. So there's no very little point asking the Wildlife Trust to move their half-term program a week early because no one will go on it. They're all in school. The Wildlife Trust have a great program of activities down at Abbey Foregate. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's a great way to keep the kids occupied and learn something at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, I mean, like, there's so much going on with this festival. If you go, tell people if you've heard it on the Biscuit, or let us know if you've gone to an event and if you've enjoyed it, because a lot of the events are free. If you go onto Eventbrite, a lot of these events are free. I think there's some like the Unitarian Church, the key. What's it called?
So this is a case for our listeners to know that if they actually do want to attend the event, they've got to do everything through Eventbrite. But
not just Eventbrite. I mean, everybody's got their own sort of ticketing source, but everything is on.
But they've got to go through a ticketing system, haven't they? They can't just turn up.
No, booking is essential. The brochure will say that booking is essential.
But it could be free or it could be charged for.
Yeah, the brochure and hopefully the website, once it's gone live with the full programme, will highlight which are free events and which have a small charge.
Yeah.
There is nothing that is kind of a huge ticket price. It's more of a to cover the costs of the event.
Yeah.
I think 90% of the events are free.
Yeah.
Obviously, what we would hope to do in future years is look at centralised ticketing, looking at a centralised festival office that people can come and get tickets on a face-to-face basis rather than relying on electronic means. And obviously, with next year being the 150th anniversary of the publication of The Descent of Man, we are looking to perhaps take a step up with what the festival does to mark that anniversary. And if there's any individuals of high net worth listening to the podcast, then we'd be more than happy to take your money to help us make that step.
It's fantastic. Well, thank you very much for sitting with us. One last question is, I've got two questions actually to ask you.
It's like getting like Columbo.
What do you think the meaning is behind this festival?
I think it's about celebrating the place.
Yeah.
Yes, we're using the man, we're using the pedigree and the profile of one of the most influential human beings that has ever lived. I think he was rated about number 13 in the Time magazine's most influential people that have been around. So it is about using the man, but I think it's about celebrating the place. And I think it's about celebrating the diversity of the cultural, education, heritage and leisure offer that we have in Shrewsbury. It's just really helpful that we can use the Darwin and Darwin as a brand to bring people in. Would this type of activity or program happen if Darwin wasn't the hook? Probably. Would it have the kind of same kudos or the same gravitas or the same pull? Probably not. So yes, it is about the man, and it is about celebrating the man, the work, the legacy, and what he gave to humankind. But it's also about actually celebrating Shrewsbury now.
Yeah.
And finally, what does Shrewsbury mean to you? This is the bow and arrow shot. What
does Shrewsbury mean to me?
Personally?
Well, seeing I've uprooted my entire family from a very comfortable existence living out on the Wirral, which is a beautiful part of the northwest of England, down here to an uncertain future amongst you Salopians. I think what Shrewsbury means to me is life-changing. It has kind of been a major fork in the road of the journey that myself and my family are on. We're now dedicated Salopians in terms of we've lived here for I think 3 years now. My daughter is settled in a brilliant school out at Meal Primary, and we're very happy here. And as I constantly reinforce to prospective students when they come on open days, to my mind there isn't a better place in the country to live, to work and study than Shrewsbury.
Thank you. That was actually quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else from you guys? Would you guys got any questions for?
Well, I quite obviously want to thank you very much for coming, particularly here straight from London on a train, because I know what that's like. I've done that journey many a time myself, because obviously the trains, anything can happen. But you've just linked in and said about you were from the Wirral originally. What did you do up there?
Well, originally from Bolton, as you can probably tell from my accent.
I was going to say it's a bit more of what I call the Mankey accent.
And as never going to Bolton and call them Mancunians, you won't get out alive.
No, I know. For me, as a Southerner, it's still that, Mancunian.
And as soon as I mention the word Bolton, my accent immediately strengthens by a factor of 10.
Learning gay from Bolton.
Yeah, I kind of grew up in Bolton, studied at university down south in Reading, and then came back worked for the civil service for a while, and then came back to work for the University of Chester in Chester, where I've been for 12 years. And hence living out on the Wirral, which is just outside Chester. And then obviously it's the University of Chester that is sponsoring and collaborating on the development of University Centre Shrewsbury. We are part of the University of Chester. I'm very proud of that association. And we award University of Chester degrees. And therefore came down here about 3-4 years ago to kind of to work on this.
Cool.
And live here 3-4 years ago and worked on this for the last 6 or 7 years in terms of moving the university forward. So that's why I was on the Wirral. The only thing that we lack, as my 8-year-old daughter continues to remind me, is we were very close to the sea.
I was going to say,
the Wirral,
being landlocked,
and the beach. Whereas here, you're like 2 hours from the nearest water.
Oh no!
But I know that obviously Tony Bywater out at Salop Leisure is trying to change that by creating his own beach.
It's not quite the same as going to West Kirby, though, is it?
It's a great facility if you're listening, Tony.
Nice idea.
But that's the only thing that we've compromised on, and if that's the only thing, when everything else about this town and this county and the wider area is so brilliant, I think we just have to be a bit louder about shouting about it, and that's why I would really applaud you guys for the work you're doing in terms of taking to not just a local audience but also to a global audience the interesting stuff and the interesting people and the interesting place that this is.
Oh, thank you. That was really nice. That's really touched me.
Somebody pass him a tissue.
Have you got anything to add, DeeDee, before we?
Well, obviously I've been a bit quiet because this is my first podcast, and
No,
I don't want to.
That's fine.
He didn't warn me, so I haven't got any notes.
So he did exactly the same to me on my first one.
It's not really a question, but it's just like one of those things where it's nice to hear someone from Shrewsbury who's very passionate about the town and the way you speak about Darwin and the festival and everything. It's really nice to hear, because I think there's a lot of people here that don't appreciate where they live and how much of an amazing place it is. I think it's not till you leave that you realise, hold on, what is this? And you come back, and I think it's like, especially with my generation, I don't think we appreciate it a lot. And I think there's a lot of people who aren't aware of how much of a structure Darwin is here and how much he has done. And I think if they can get involved in the festival as well, there's a really, really big deal. Like I was saying about picking something and going. And even if it's not something you're interested in, you never know. Just step out there and just have a look, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Really? Pick something that you probably wouldn't be interested in.
Yeah, exactly. Because you never know.
I was sat in a bar last year. It was the old post office, and I was sitting listening to a guy talking about diseases and medicine and how they're making it. I was sat with a pint of beer, and I was like, something I would never normally
think
do.
about it, and you just suddenly take an interest, don't you? Yeah.
The Cafe Scientific, I think, is a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I hope that grows, because I really want it to. It's like a live podcast, isn't it? Imagine if you could sit, listen to Joe Rogan live.
Don't giving him any ideas.
No, it is. It is another fantastic development, and Richard obviously doing a lot of work. I believe he's coming on the.
I like
show
him, by the way. We had a really good chat at the last panel meeting. He's a good guy. I can't wait to chat to him.
He's a sound guy. But yeah, it is very much about, however you choose something to come and get involved in, to kind of chuck a dart against a dartboard with a brochure. Better to be out there engaged and doing something than just sat at home watching the TV.
Definitely, yeah.
We will be going to a lot of events, so even if you want to just hook up with us and come with us, I don't mind, as long as people are getting there.
Yeah.
If you want to come with a biscuit, come with a biscuit. It's fine. Thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome.
I want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors at Gin Different for sponsoring this show, and make sure you guys check us out. I say next week, it probably in a few days. We've got so much booked on this month. We've got lots going on, but thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
And thank you very much, guys. Make sure you check out our amazing website by Web Orchard, that was made by Web Orchard as well. It's a great place to go. You can listen to our audio directly from the website, so you don't have to download an app if you don't want to. I tried it on my phone the other day. It works fine. You can close your phone and carry on listening. And our website is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. And it's a cool website. So thank you very much, guys, and I will catch you next time.
Cool.
Peace
Thank
out.
you.